Hey everyone, I want to do another firearm review, my second firearm review on one of my favorite branded gun, but probably one of my favorite guns of all times, the one I carry the most, and it is the Glock Model 27, which is 40 Smith & Wesson. It's a subcompact Glock, and which means the small series, the baby Glock, as some people call it. And there's compact and then the full size service pistol size caliber, sized handgun. What I like most about the subcompact is that it's the easiest to conceal, and you can, hide it very well. The hardest part about concealing a firearm usually is the grip is the hardest part to conceal. And the Glock 27 or the subcompact series Glock has the smallest size, smallest grip of them all, which has a pro and con. Easy to conceal, but a lot of people, especially people with big hands, have a real hard time holding on to it. Now, that is true, and it can be difficult, and I think part of it has to do with training. If you train and you get used to holding it, you can just have to learn not to use your little finger. What I do is wrap my little finger around the bottom, and that right there is something that will, I was kind of trained to hold that, like the Marines and stuff, they train us, when you hold something, put your finger around the bottom. So to me, it never was a problem. It was the first gun I ever fired, a handgun I ever fired. Therefore, I kind of learned on it. So to me, it feels very natural. But there's several options, and one thing about the subcompacts is you can always go bigger, but you can't go smaller. You can put longer barrels in this, but you can't put a shorter barrel in it. You can only go longer, and same thing with the grip. You can go with a bigger grip, but you can't go smaller unless you chop a larger frame Glock, which you're kind of defeating the purpose. And what I mean by you can extend the grip is, this is a standard magazine. It holds 9 rounds in the 40 caliber. I think 10 or 11 rounds with the 9mm, and of course 9 rounds with 357 SIG. But this holds 9 rounds. It's a standard grip magazine. When you put it in there, it will, of course, go flush with the frame, and you have to kind of hold it like this. When you can do one option, which just increases the size of the grip just a hair, and it is a little finger groove bottom plate of the standard 9-round magazine, and that way you can just barely squeeze your little finger on there, which kind of helps, but then it makes you really squeeze the grip. I mean, it really makes you ram your fingers up, and I don't have very long fingers, but I have thick fingers, and I can know how that can work. So, oh damn, drops right out. But that's another advantage of a Glock, by the way, is the magazines drop out. Anyway. Option you have with the subcompacts is to put a compact magazine in, which should be, for the 27, it'd be the Glock 23 magazine will fit in. This is a 13-round Glock 23 magazine, and this one I have a little spacer at the bottom, and I'll show you why. You put a little spacer in, put the magazine in, it goes in just perfectly, and I have the same grip as I would if I had a Glock 23, and I have the 13-round capacity of a Glock 23, and that gives me the option. I have a couple of, that's 4 extra rounds. That can be considerable. So that gives that option. That's what it looks like with the Glock 23 magazine. That's the little spacer. Now, you don't have to put a spacer on it to make it work. There's no gunsmithing or nothing you have to do to the magazine to make it work. You can take a regular 23 magazine, as I have here, and put it with no spacer, but it leaves the grip a little uneven, but you still can get your hand around just fine, and it's not a problem. But, I prefer having, at least on the 23, that little bit of extra grip. Doesn't add too much bulk, and it just slips over the magazine, and then you just tighten an Allen wrench and hold it on. So it's not like you have to do any machining or you have to mess up a magazine of that kind of nature. Another option on top of that, if you really want some capacity, you put a Glock 22 magazine, a full-size service pistol magazine in, which would be or a Glock 17 9mm, of course, 31 in 357 SIG, but yeah, the full size, and you can or don't have to, but you can put an extender on that too, which gives you the full grip and 15 round capacity on that magazine. Now the gun kind of looks funny at this point because it's got this big grip and everything. I see that, but then again, if you want a nightstand gun and capacity, and if you got 15 rounds plus one chance, 16 rounds out of a subcompact Glock, and you can always go back to your little tiny magazine. Another good thing about having a magazine like this is you can carry this one in your pocket as your backup magazine. You got 15 rounds plus your 9+1 or 13+1 that you have in the gun currently. Okay. Another advantage to a larger grip and a disadvantage of a smaller grip is often your grip can have to do with recoil control, which will result in the follow-up shots, and also can have to do with just general accuracy. A lot of people find it easier to shoot with a larger grip, and I have to admit it is a little bit easier to aim when you can really grip the firearm a little better. So there are advantages, but once again, concealability and bulk and everything gets in the way. So that's the